Hey Desiree, how's it going? I actually started this drawing on my birthday, and I just found it while I was cleaning, and I figured, hey, why not finish it off? I usually draw something for me on my birthday, but obviously I didn't get it finished. Cold and rainy. Yeah, it's been foggy all day in our neighborhood. Thank you. Yeah, he's always been my favorite of the X-Men, so I imagine in the lifetime of this channel, you'll see many iterations. But yeah, I've been packing, getting ready to go to Fan Expo down in New Orleans. I'm excited to. It'll be the southernmost trip for a comic convention for myself. So I don't think there's many further places you can get south that have Comic Cons at least for in the U.S. Hey, thanks, Jay. Hey, I booked the flight before all the harangue with Southwest. All I know is I'm not driving back from Louisiana. If I have to fly to Canada and drive back, whatever, I'm not messing around this time. Or we'll just, I'll just run away. I'll just fly somewhere, and that's what I'll do. Post New Orleans convention, I'll just hop on a flight somewhere. Maybe like I'll just go to Aruba. Yeah. Never been there. Always stagecoach. Yeah, if I'm not the man at the wheel, maybe there's a. I'm definitely not taking a bus from Louisiana to New England. Stagecoach. Yeah, that'll be. What was it? Oregon Trail. Die of exposure. Hey, Michael. What's shaking? Thank you, Jeff. Good to see you too, man. Thanks for popping in. Yeah, Jay, we had plenty of rides on the Funghua bus going back and forth to New York Comic Con in our day. I feel like we served our time. Oh, thanks, Michael. Yeah, glad to be back. This is on a pretty small sheet of paper. This is half of a 9x12, so it's 6x9. So there's going to be a lot more pen than I usually do, just because there's all the little lines and stuff. Exposure or distance area. Where your chickens ride free. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And if you got a ticket for a walk at the one rest stop that they stop at before they hit the city, Yeah, I definitely am getting ready for the show. I've packed a lot of stuff. I was actually able to ship some stuff down in advance, so that was good. I don't have to worry about carrying as many books in my suitcase. So hopefully they're not like, you know, borderline on where they make you take stuff out or charge extra for the heavy suitcase. I'll have my one carry-on that'll have my original art in it, and uh, my suitcase will be primarily, the things that the normal people live with, the clothes. Things of that nature, yeah. I'll probably have to pack in some paper and things like that. So fingers crossed we get there safe, get back safe, and everybody. I just don't know what to expect from a show in New Orleans. I really don't. I was listening to a podcast of another artist who did the show, and they said they had a good time, and it was a good show. And honestly, this is my first fan expo in a number of years. This is my first fan expo that was not Boston in forever. Heck, I don't even remember the last time I did one before this that wasn't just Boston. Maybe Chicago. I don't remember. It's been a long time, long time. Hey, Brian. Yeah, I hope so. I hope it's well attended. It's the idea, get people introduced to my work in a new area, meet some new folks. I kind of think of it like an away game back when I played sports and stuff. Don't know if it's going to be a welcoming or a hostile crowd, or because I'm the out of town guy that'll be there. I've had some experience going down to New Orleans with family and stuff, but like this is my first time trying to you know check out the comics scene and set up as an artist. There's a store down there that's really nice, Crescent City Comics. They're a good store. They I appreciate any store that has an entire section of local artists. I found one when I was in Colorado Springs last year. I found two while I was in Montreal earlier in the year. Found two stores that had whole sections dedicated to um, independent creators and comics. And local, well, not really independent. It was just local. Like there were people that worked for Marvel and DC that were in the local section, which was, you know, good to see. Colossus was always one of those characters that I would ask other artists to draw for me when I would get commissions at shows just for my collection. Because he was one where if you got a sketch or a bust or a full figure, like he's very distinctive with all the metal and the detail and everything. It's very hard to get like sometimes if you ask for a head sketch of like another one of my favorites, an Aquaman, it just looks like handsome heroic guy. Let's get our brush because we've got some of those little details. And I got a new shipment in from Jet Pens today. I restocked my pencil leads. People are always asking me what I use. I use the Uni Blue, and then this is the Kuratoga HB. This stuff is great. I love it. And it's really not any more expensive than the pencil leads you get here. These are Japanese. And I got some more deleter sheets, some more Zipatone. And I'm looking forward to really sharing some of the work I've been doing with that stuff. It's been really exciting. It's been really fun. And we'll definitely have to have an episode where we do a Zipatone demonstration. I'd love to get somebody like my buddy Eli Stone or someone that has a lot of experience on for that episode. And I've been talking to a few people about coming on. My friend Allison said she would come on the show, and she's got a new book she's got coming out. And my buddy Douglas, who's usually in the comments there, and we got to have Jay on. Like, we're gonna have to have a maybe even a later at night episode for Jay. Yeah, I just had too much fun working with it on that little bit that I already finished with Zipaton. I've been using it on pages for a new story, and I want to keep using it for that. What I'm using the brush pen for right now are really the outlines to try to get some really good variations in the line thickness. My light source is over here. Oh, that's all right, Douglas. I look. When I was a kid, I was an X-Men junkie. You know, I read far too many of those silly books. And it's funny. I was talking to a friend of mine about like characterization and stuff in comics, and like specifically in mainstream, and how it's like it's so rare to find any at all in super. Like especially when I was a kid, like the writers were not at the forefront, and the art was really like what they were focusing on, and the artists themselves were like the rock stars and all this stuff. And but when you would find it, it was like finding a diamond in the rough, even if it was like just the bare minimum of characterization in a superhero story. And obviously I read books other than just comics, much as I love them. But it's really just changed, when I found independent comics and different stuff that was being written from outside the US, and there was just finding life beyond the superhero comics. But it's very nostalgic for me, for sure. Yeah. It hits that, 12 to 15-year-old me. Sometimes I gotta like move faster. I get a little nervous when I first come on this thing, so gotta move my hands a little quicker. Because you can tell, or at least I can tell. Um, a fast line from a slow line, and you can tell in the way the bristles hit the paper. I can tell, especially with like a dip pen. Like if I was using a crow quill, like you can absolutely see when a quick line goes through and when a very slow, deliberate line goes through. And I've been trying to just get a little bit more energy going. We've got a fair number of people in here, so I guess I'll show off the cover I chose. It was one of my favorite ones that we did on the stream together here. But if you have not subscribed, at the end of this, I'll be doing the raffle, and I have my list of subscribers. And I'm gonna one of my favorites from doing it together on this stream was this Conan sketch cover. Anyone who hasn't subscribed to the YouTube, you can hop over there, hit subscribe, and it'll go to, right now it's 108. So you have a 1 in 108 chance of getting a full-on sketch cover. That if you were here, you got to watch us do the whole thing on there. But that's the one. And I really like that one, so I'll be sad to see it go. Um, but I hope it finds a new home. Hope a bot gets it. Does he have an arrow in his back? He does, yes. Conan is wounded, but he is triumphant as he stands over the vanquished foe. I finished a variant cover today. I submitted that for a book called Redemption. It's an independently published book. I don't know if Carissa is listening. Awesome, cool. My goal was to get to 100, and people hit that pretty quick, so that was really nice. We'll do another one at, like, I don't know, what's a fair number? 250? That is the right one, Desiree. And I have an envelope to go to you anyway, so if you ended up winning it, I could just put it right in the envelope. And I actually found there was a drawing I said ages ago that I would send to you, and I found it finally. I was looking for it before I mailed out your tick piece. The Desbot subscribed. Fantastic. I know we all mostly just hang out here on Facebook, but I'm going to be able to do some cool stuff with the YouTube channel that I've learned how to do. So if we just get some more stuff going there, I don't know if I'll ever do just one platform though, because I have so many different people that chime in from where they like to view, and I like being able to do that. I don't know. Did they send out awards like that? I don't know. Sure, I'll take an award. If it gets people to check out how hand drawing is fun and cool, and they join our little community here. And I've been working on my website in what little spare time I have, because we're going to be setting up a whole new section on there. I don't have a clever name for it yet, but it's going to be the only place where you're going to see my new finished works without like watermarks and stuff all over them, because I'm going to be able to protect them from the AI training software there, which I'm really excited to do and test out and kind of be the guinea pig. And, I had to try something. So, oh, I'll show off one other thing, a couple things I'm bringing, because like I've been trying to get, when I do these shows, I usually forget to bring anything to get signed, but Bill Morrison, who did tons of the Simpsons comics, is going to be there, and I've had this one signed by Bernie Wrightson and Mark Wolfman for some time, and I'm going to go down there and see if I can get in line and have him sign it. I have two others, an old Cloak and Dagger book that was drawn by Art Adams, and then the Marvel 2-in-1 Annual 7, which I think is one of the best superhero books of the Bronze Age. And the subsequent issue, issue 96 after this, I think is one of those moments of faint, that people say it's like one of the more tearjerker type characterizations for a superhero comic. I believe that's on a scale, but it's like there's some characterization there, and I just love it. I ate that up as a kid. So do a Bender Colossus mashup. That would be cool. I was bummed out the last time I was at San Diego. I went over to the Bongo Comics booth because I read the Bongo books. I loved the Bongo free for all, um, and I was trying to get work with them. And I talked to one of the editors there, and they basically were like, you could tell just based on the booth that like I don't know, things were not going great or things were dire. And but I talked to one of the editors who did like the SpongeBob comics, and he looked at my work and liked it, and but he said like we don't know if we're closing up shop, and obviously we now know that they did end up closing up shop, so never got to draw a Simpsons comic. I always had one Simpsons story in mind because I watched forever, and because we're all pals here and it's never going to happen. I will tell you my one Simpsons story that I had to pitch. And there's an episode where Krusty, looks out the window and he's giving advice to Bart, and he says, show business. One day you're on top, and the next day you're a guy working in a box factory, and then a guy in a box factory across the street like shakes his fist and yells at him. Well, my pitch was to do the story of the guy in the box factory. And I share it because, like, honestly, um, never gonna happen. Like, I'm never gonna get the opportunity to do anything with that, and I don't think it really works outside of that moment in that universe. They did do a Hank Scorpio, Mr. Burns team up that I just freaking loved. Chuck Lee, have you tried? If so, what do you think about Pentel AIN Stein lead compared to your lead? I've tried pretty much all the Pentel leads. If that's a newer or a fancier one, maybe I haven't. But I did used to use Pentel because that's all I could get at like the local Blix. Like that was what they carried. This pencil lead was introduced to me at a convention by another artist, and I tried it out there, and it erases easy. It's very smooth. Um, it might have been Chris Campana that told me to switch to Uni. I don't remember for sure, but it was definitely at a show. And that's one of the cool things at conventions that maybe people don't see. Jesse, how are you? Um, we're always giving each other tips or talking about the new tools. Like this light table that I've used on this stream was being used by my friend Daryl Banks at a convention. And I looked over and I was like, Daryl, is that a mobile light table? And he looked at me and he goes, yes, Ian, it is. And he was like, I had the same reaction when Arvell Jones, the Bronze Age Marvel DC artist, fantastic artist, had a light table had this at his table, and he basically is going to give me the same pitch I'm going to give to you. And he told me where to get it, about how much it costs, and I've been using it ever since. And you can't do. I'm just going to say this: you really can't do Zipatone without a light table. If you're going to try to do Zipatone without a light table, I think you're going to drive yourself mad. Like there was a time when I used to have to try to trace stuff off, and I'd like have a clear piece of like framer's plastic or glass, and I'd be holding it up over a lamp or something, and that was just not the way to do it. Ah. Thanks, Jesse. Yeah, I'm sure I'll see you at a convention real soon. Are you going to be at a Little Giant or Wicked or one of those other local shows? But yeah, in answer to your question, Chuck, if it's not the regular Pentel, maybe I haven't tried it. I'm actually going to be using one of my Christmas presents that I got from the missus a little later. She gave me a new circle template because I'm always using like coffee cups and things and scented candles and bowls to make circles. So at least that'll give me some more sizes, so I don't have to monopolize the mixing bowls or anything. And there's been a meme or a thing going around about writers and artists like having to have drawn instead of the process. And I will say, in one regard, I thought about it quite a bit, and I much prefer the process now as I've gotten older than when I was younger. I used to really get frustrated. I'm just getting a reference for his weird little boots. Um, I used to really get frustrated by the process, and I still do to a certain degree, but I definitely have a more level head about it. I have a compass, but I'm terrible using the compass. Like for inking. Inking with a compass, I'm awful at. I just wholly admit my weakness of that. If you have any tricks for inking with a compass, I am all ears, my friend. I've tried finding pens that fit in the compass. I've tried building pens that fit in the compass. I've tried I have tried so many ways to ink with a compass. Repeatographs. That means I gotta clean those things. Oh man. We've got to have a comic book artist that's like a retired or maybe failed engineer. We need to have, there has to be an engineer around us that can be like, this is how you build an inking thing. Is it better than using a coffee mug? Is it? I don't know. There's also the thrill of the hunt of finding and the satisfaction of finding just the right size coffee cup. Hey, Dean. Hey, thanks very much. I appreciate that. Just a little bit of fan art tonight, and then we'll do the raffle later. Michael says, I've been practicing with traditional media lately, from penciling to inking, learning a lot from my experiences so far, from what I like and what I can do. Yeah, because when I was younger, I hated inking. I hated it, and I got to be honest, it's like probably my favorite part of the process now because to me, the inking and even I'm in love with hand lettering right now. I'm having so much fun with it. Um, but to me, the inking, and this is the way the old school comic folks they used to know, like if it does not work when you've finished inking it, it's not going to work when they color it, and or if you color it. Like the phrase "I can save it in the colors" is a bad phrase. Oh, the round Jenga box. That's a good call, Jesse. Maybe next time. Douglas. Oh, I know a thing. It's a plastic compass template that'll work with your tech pens. Send me a link on where to buy one. I will give it a shot. The round Jenga box. Absolutely. I've stood in line at the grocery store and looked at the giant 30-gallon jug of cheese balls and said, "Hey, maybe I need that as a circle template later on." Not that I need cheese balls, but just the jar. Dean asks, "Are you your artist from Dynamite?" I've done a few projects for Dynamite. I worked on a most recent one I did was a Red Sonja cover. I've done a Vampirella. No, is that true, or did I do the Vampirella one more recently? I don't remember, but I've done Vampirella, Red Sonja, Elvira. I'm hoping to get to do one of the Burroughs characters at some point because I grew up reading that, the pulp. It's not literature; it's definitely pulp. Um, and I always like John Carter, like Tars Tarkas, the giant Thark. I always liked that. Thought that was cool. And I was one of the handful of people that saw the. I think Jay and I saw the John Carter movie together in the theater, and we both liked it when we saw it, and we both read enough of that, you know, stuff. It's a nice way to put it. Cheese balls are a bonus. That's correct. They're just there. They come with the circle template. That's what it is. I'm not buying a giant can of cheese balls. I'm buying art supplies. It's correct. Glad we've solved that. Eating cards for Vampirella Unholy. That was cool. Nice. Oh, nice to meet you, Dean. Yeah, that's very cool. Neek's Dynamite sketch card. Oh, you did some Vampirella Unholy stuff, Jesse? I didn't know that. Yeah, you'll have to send me that. I don't think I saw that on your page. The algorithm, I miss so much stuff. Even when I say like follow first on people, I still don't see the stuff I want to see. Been looking for a good no smear lead that's 2 mm and round 2H. Mars Stedler still smears at 2H. I was eyeing the Uni line of leads. Yeah, the Uni line is what I use. And also with mechanical pencils, if that's what you're using, you can go with a harder lead. You're still going to be able to see it. I've used 4H before with mechanical lead, and it's the same as if I was using a softer lead on like an old-fashioned woody pencil. Um, at least that's been my experience. I've been able to get the same lines that are easy to erase with like a 4H. Yeah, being left-handed, but that's one of the things they always say is that all the great cartoonists were left-handed. I forget the artist that said, "You can't be that good. You're right-handed." To me, I forget who that was. It was funny. We both had a laugh. He's probably right. Maybe it was Vaz. I don't remember. But this one I'll have. Hopefully, we'll finish it tonight, and I'll be able to have it at the table at the Fan Expo this weekend. I saw John Carter in a theater because I was locked out of a hotel room I was sharing at Phoenix Con or PHX Con. Yeah, we went and just saw it in the theater. I mean, it was like, what are we looking for? Are we looking for the greatest film ever made? No, I'm just looking for a fun adventure flick. Lead guy, not the best actor, but John Carter, not a lot of character range in that guy. I know all the Burroughs fans are just clutching their pearls as I say that. And I enjoy them. Cat's knocking on the door. I thought he had like the pirate style boots, but I guess not when I looked at the originals. Hey, Jesse, still chipping away at it, still working. We will have. I made the mistake of being little overly ambitious, I think, with issue 2 of making a double-sized issue, but I wanted each issue to be self-contained. So, like when I'm at a show, if someone just sees a story they want to read, they can pick it up without being like, "Oh, I got to get them all now." And it's like, nope, you can just pick this one up, and it makes perfect sense. You don't have to read anything before it. I follow some of those old comic adages of like you have to introduce the character. Everybody knows each other's name, but we need to have them say their names early in the story. Can't tell you how many comics I've picked up, like new comics, where, like, honestly, they don't say the character's name for many pages. And that's just like a simple, like, you want new people to check it out. So imagine if someone picked up issue 3 of your book and you didn't say the name of your character in the first half of the book. I want all the issues to be welcoming, and I'm not trying to write down to folk, but you just have to just be aware that. And I think it's one thing that good writers have is that they don't assume that every reader knows everything that they know. Obviously, I created these characters. I need to do a good job of explaining them. Absolutely will, Jesse. You're the man for that stuff. You're my guy for that. I don't have any other people for that. I'm hoping to keep you busy this year. I've been working on a whole bunch of other stuff, and this is the year for Fat Cat releases. There's going to be more than just Acts of Helena this year. Worked on a schedule, working on deliverables, working on. Hey Brian, good to see you, man. Thanks for popping in. Geeks and Drinks. This is looking killer. Thank you, Geeks and Drinks. Very kind of you. If this were more than a sketch, I'd have to get out my smaller curved templates so that I were to draw those gauntlets correctly instead of just eyeballing them. One of my new pet peeves when it comes to looking at my old work is when I look at something I just eyeballed and it was just like, oh, why were you? I mean, you realize that I was probably drawing it really, really tired or at the end of a day or whatever, but I still get mad at myself when I sometimes don't finish the drawing. I do a cheat. And there are plenty of drawing cheats out there, and I'm sure over the course of this series of streams, you'll see plenty of my cheats. I'm going to use one here, actually. Let me see here. Oh, that would be great, Jesse. Yeah, I've got. I'll PM you because I'm not ready to announce stuff yet, but I will send you a list of the things I got cooking. Mike DeFonte. I usually use the thick lead holders for variation of line width, but do you find the thinner leads like 0.5 to be useful? Do they break easily when drawing? I switched to the mechanical pencils years ago now, and I understand like wanting the variation of line thickness, um, but to me, the pencil stage is not the end point. So I don't want to spend too much time really going. Um, all out with my line thickness in pencil because this is just for my process. This is just the thinking stage where I'm trying to get the anatomy and perspective down. And as you can see, as I'm inking, I'm adding my thickness and thins as I ink it. I'm maintaining my light source, which is up over here, and you're going to see that more as I put in the shiny metal. But I do my thick and thin when I'm inking because it's a for me as it was described to me by Howard Chaykin is inking is not to me, and I agree with him, is not about creating a slick, finish. It's not just a veneer. It is the next step of drawing. It is the continuation of the drawing process. And to me, I really can't think about if I do finished pencils where they're completely drawn in, I'll never get through inking it. Never. I'll just be so done with it, like mentally. If you come back to Colorado Springs County, I want to see about getting you to do a feral tick sketch in my sketchbook. How you described your future tick idea. Yeah, I'd be happy to. You'd probably be the only person other than me and the writer that pitched it that would have a picture of that. I've thought about posting it because like it's such a fun idea, but then again, like I have another character that like the idea won't work right away. But let's say year 2, year 3, I think I could put much of that to use. And that's I have full intention of doing that. It's they didn't want us, use it. I will show that people will like the idea. I just get so bored. Like for me, I can't when it comes to the drawing process. Like if I spend too much time on one step, even a preliminary step, and this will knock your socks off probably with like how stupid it is. I get bored with a drawing if I think I've solved everything in the thumbnail stage. Like if I have solved every issue that there could be in my mind at that moment, even on a tight thumbnail, do I have any nearby? Yeah. There's a whole bunch of thumbnails that I've been working on. I'll show you one. Here we go. Now, as you can see, like the whole page is here. The writing, the lettering, the camera angles, the inset panels, the flow, but like there's still lots to be solved. If I were to take this like another step further and have like, finished curtains and like the faces are all correct and stuff, like these are just gestures. The faces here are a little bit more done because I wanted to, as I was writing, get the expressions in, but like there's still things to be solved here. I've made the mistake of doing too much work at the thumbnail stage and getting ahead of myself. I just have to trust the process and know that like as I go along, um, I can get to the next step and the next step, and it's not done until I get all the way through it. Um, oh, and these I just got. These are wonderful pens. If you've never used them, these are the Kuretake Pocket. They call them brush pens, but they're not really brushes. They're just kind of like fancy flare pens that have archival ink. I use these for lettering. So like here, I'll show you if I were to show. And then you can get a real thin line. Yeah, and they work great. They get a nice finish. All right, let's get these hands drawn. I'm dawdling, talking too much. But that's just me. That's my how my brain functions. Like if I get bored, it becomes too hard to get through, and I'll zone out, or I'll want to draw something else, or I have to have something. There has to be a mountain to climb on that page. And that's what I like. I There is such a great thrill of, like, as much as a defeat happens when I mess it up, and it happens, like, it just happens. There's such a thrill in getting to that end point and knowing that, a good percentage of what was in your brain is on the paper. Like, there's so many, artists I've talked to over the years where I've asked, like, "How much," and this is a question that's great to talk, like, if you're an artist alley. And this is just a process question that if you're, trying to figure out something to ask someone you're sitting next to each other, or you're in line or something. And it's just, how much of what you see in your head, like a percentage, do you think gets on the page? And I've never gotten the same answer twice. I've asked people who have been drawing for twice as long as I've been alive so far, and gotten different answers every time. I think it was, I had one artist, and look, I'm not going to necessarily speak for them, but they said, on a good day, I get about 60% down. On a great day, I'll get about 75% down. But he's always chasing that 25% that he hadn't gotten yet. Some of them have said, like, well, when I'm sketching, I'm not trying to get everything down that's in my head. I'm just trying to study a certain thing, or, do different studies. But that's one of those questions I like to ask people, different artists. And I think that's a big difference between artists and writers, is, like, if a writer is thinking of a specific word instead of a feeling, sometimes they're searching for words where we're searching for, um, a texture, or a camera angle, or something. When we're doing it completely visually, we're trying to take, a literary form, and, turn it into an artistic form, a visual form, which is really what translating a script into artwork is. And it's a totally different skill, different set of skills. Ugh. Clean up some of this pencil I got going on here. I mean, we've got a bunch of artists in here. We got. How much do you think you guys get down, or you ladies get down onto your final drawing? How much do you think of what you see in your head gets to that point of the paper? You know, or the canvas, or the whatever your medium is. We got writers in here too. Like, we've got all kinds of creative people hanging out here this evening. Oh, I love first comics. Seriously, I adore reading people's first comics, because we all had the growing pains, and there's certain things that we all messed up. And look, there are very few perfect first comics. I don't know if I've ever seen one, and it's wonderful to see people getting into it, and it's hard. It's hard to put out your first comic. It is really a challenge. Getting over all the doubt, getting over all the like, oh man, like it doesn't look like my favorite artist. Does it still count? Like, is it a comic if it doesn't look like my favorite artist? Of course it does, because it's your art. And then who knows, maybe you'll be somebody's favorite artist or someone that someone else learns from. I learn from artists who are younger than me all the time. So much great stuff I run into on social media that I would never have seen, just from in-person shows. Like I draw for fun. Geeks and Drinks says I draw for fun, and I always feel like I only get 15% of what's in my mind. Well, that means there's so much left for you to explore. I mean, there's so much there that you can dig into as you go on and draw more. I mean, that's I'd be interested to know, like, if you'd go for a more simplified style, or are you going for a realistic style? Is it the idea that you're seeing? Like, are you seeing more of your concept or more of the finish in your mind? Because I tend to think of art in two different pieces. I tend to think of it in structure and finish. Um, because that's how I was originally trained. Was first I was trained to draw structurally, and then you put the aluminum siding over the top of it. Whether it was painting or drawing or anything, it's for me. I was taught to do structure first. For Douglas, he says, "For me, the story takes form on the page more so than in my head. I write in sketches, I come up with it." So there's an element of like just spontaneity as you're going, and like maybe does that come from some of your stand up training? Like sometimes you gotta just get up there and start talking. That's fascinating, and it's just so different from how I work. And it's so cool because, like, we don't all have to work even remotely similarly. I'm just a bad artist. I see a cool image, but it lacks the skill. Well, I applaud you for doing it for fun, and I hope you keep doing it because it's a good pursuit. And feel free to share it with me anytime. I would love to see it. I would love to set up a gallery on my website for the people who pop into this stream. That would be great. I don't know. I don't have a fancy name or anything like Chris Campana, like his companions. We'd have to come up with a fun name, I guess, or some sort of group name, I guess. Do I have a gallery on comic art fans? I do. All that really is on there right now is some of the stuff that's for sale on my website and the art collection that I've gotten over the years collected because I collect art from other artists. Um, I've got a tick page from Douglas on there. I've got an Aquaman from Jesse Lundberg, who's one of the commenters. I've got an Aquaman that he drew for me in there. We did a trade. Love trades. Always up for trades. Maybe I'll get lucky and I'll get to do an art trade with somebody in at New Orleans. That would be exciting. Douglas says it could be. Just imagining what would be happening, and the hand sketching or mind coming up with words happens coming together. The Chasers. I don't know. What does everybody think of that? Do you guys, you folks like that? That's my middle name, and it ended up on everything because of, unfortunately, because of Facebook. Because I'm one of those naive folks that when it says put your middle name in, I put my middle name in. That's it's a family name, so I actually am related to, some folks with the last name Chase back on the old Nantucket. I'd be open to doing a trade with you. To be open to doing an art for me, a 7 to 8 page comics that I wrote. Oh, we'd have to see what the trade is. I'm a trader when it comes to that. Can we get a close up of those segment metal bands? Yeah. There's Eli Stone. Check out his awesome Instagram for his book project that he's been working on, which is very exciting. Eli, I got some more Zipatone. We're gonna have to have you on at some point while I'm doing some Zipatone, and we'll talk about your book. And because you have lots of experience with that, I believe. Because I think you had to do all your own zips for On the Tick, right? I don't think Bob was doing any of that stuff. Eli said, "I only ever think of you as a three-name person, like an actor, but it never once struck me as odd. It has a ring to it." Yeah, I cut it short closest to the light source. So like further away, it gets closer to that back edge. And at some point it does touch. Like, but the stuff that where the light source is, I definitely cut it short. I might actually go back in with some whiteout over here to mimic that. Because like right here, you're gonna barely have any little marks. They're just little dots basically. Yeah, you had to do a zillion pages of Zipatone as far as I remember. Looking good. Wait, what did I see? I missed a comment. Hold on, I gotta go back up. Yes, I did my own grades. Got into some of that manga eraser work for water and shines, razor scratching and window shines and speed lines. See, I'm gonna have to learn from somebody here that knows a lot more than I do. I just know how to like cut it out for like basically like shading purposes and using it as like a tonal section. I haven't learned any of those tricks of like where you scratch it off. Zipatone are like these adhesive sheets, and they're the little tiny dots. There's like little teeny tiny dots. And you put it down, and it creates like a grayed out area, like a different tone. Just pulling out some reference. Okay, so it does go all the way down to his belt. I wasn't sure if it went. Okay. I couldn't remember if his yellow lines went all the way down to his belt, so I'm just going to do it in pencil real quick so that don't mess it up. It's actually a pretty subtle curve, and that's really tough to pull off sometimes. Eli, I'm sorry I wasn't here. Is this a commission? This was actually just a piece that I was drawing for myself on my birthday that I didn't finish. And I didn't have something to work on tonight, so I figured it would be a good thing that I had already started. And, I can bring it with me to New Orleans and have it available at the table. And if somebody asks about it, I can be like, hey, you can watch me draw this on your phone right now. You can just pull it right up. You can see me drawing, and you can see all these nice people that come and hang out. I have 2 commissions that I have to finish, actually. I just finished a cover that was due, and then I have a sketch cover that's due as soon as I can get it done, as always. I might try to bring it with me on the plane. Geeks and Drinks. I have a Ron Wilson commission and a TMNT last run unpublished page in the trade. If you're into that, maybe a few more, but also I'd have to look through my portfolios. Yeah, we'll chat offline. You don't have to, throw that stuff up here. I'm just hanging out. I'm not good at deals on the fly. My wife would, I think she would yell at me. She'd be like, you did what? Like, oh no, it'll be great. We got a spam post, something about promotional channel viewers, lowest price guaranteed over on Twitch. Somebody's never gotten a spam from Twitch, I don't think. That's a first. Oh well. I'd rather just give people who like my stuff drawings. Isn't that good enough? I don't know. I think that's what people would prefer instead of bots hiring bots to follow other bots. That's how that works, right, Douglas? They just have a whole bunch of bots that they have follow your profile, so you're not actually reaching any more people. It's just a whole bunch of bots. You're not actually interacting with people. I'm sure there are people that know way more about this stuff than me. I'm just going on the fly with a lot of this. Spammed on Twitch, you've arrived. Yes. Yep, you see people with 14,000 followers and 3 likes. All right. Hey, I can hear about your weird internet stuff. As long as it's not going to get me in trouble. All right, for this part, I like to use a brush just because, again, you get those really different depth of line. You see, like I can just with one press get a thick line, and our light source is here. So we want to have our shadow portions, and this is going to stay in black and white. So we need to add more contrast to this drawing. And this is where I'm really just feeling it out. Some people can, tell me this is where I cook a drawing and I put too much onto it, but I feel like when it's staying in black and white, I have to shape it a little bit more. Beep boop, give money, ambot. There we go. Beep boop, give money, ambot. Supposedly we had spam on the last stream, but I didn't. It like disappeared. I don't know what happened. Yes, for San Diego. Save it for San Diego. Yeah, I mean, if any of you folks are ever at shows that I'm at, just let me know and we'll hang out. It was lovely seeing people I had not met before that were checking out the streams at Rhode Island this year. That was a absolute treat. The self-identified lurkers that came up to the booth, they were heroes, each one of them. My wife found that endlessly entertaining. And sometimes on drawings, I just have to feel it a little bit. You see it, and just kind of like you described, Douglas, you feel as it develops, like adjustments here, changes there, and I'm not at all musical in any way, so I can't make any sort of like, oh, it's like music. I have no idea what it's like to make real music. Let's get our brand new Christmas present circle template in action here. Forgot which size I used here. I think it was this one. Next one. Next one. No, I think it was this one. I'm actually going to move it up because it's bad composition to have it clip into that thumb right there. Go. Oop, I missed some. What do you find is a good site to order comic book drawing paper from? Usually I order from Blick or Amazon. I generally order from Blick. I have some family members that give me Blick gift cards basically every Christmas, and it's very nice of them. And what I will do is I will wait until there is a sale on their Bristol, and then I'll just max out the gift card on it, and you know, because it's something that I'm always using, especially 11 by 17. I don't buy the fancy comic book Bristol. I just buy the regular 2-ply um, smooth Strathmore. I prefer the smooth. Um, I also like the mixed media paper, which is actually, they don't make it in 11 by 17. They only make it in 11 by 14 and 9 by 12, and that's the other paper I use. This is just regular 2-ply Bristol. Nothing fancy about it whatsoever. I've had trouble ordering bags to carry around binders in. They stopped making the bag that I've been carrying forever, that black shoulder bag that I'm sure everyone's seen me with at a convention. The zipper finally relented and has left this world. Look at that circle template. Absolutely. Now I just have to hang it on a hook underneath my desk. Otherwise I will lose it, in which case it will be useless. And I have absolutely searched through stacks of paper for my circle templates before. I haven't ordered much in the way of art supplies on Amazon, just because I know that, and I probably should look at the prices there, but like Blick usually has a better price on just the plain Bristol. And sometimes I just go to the store. I'm still an in-person shopper. I wander around the art supply, and the Blick in Providence actually has a wonderful, and I don't. Each Blick store is different, and it's really like you get good workers, and they know their art supplies, and they know what they're doing, and they curate things well, and they're nice to talk to. The one on Huntington Avenue was like that for a long time. They had a few people that I shopped them there for years when I lived in, closer to downtown Boston, and it was easy to get to. Um, but the one in Providence has a fantastic clearance section with like useful stuff in it. And clearly someone who works there knows that an artist doesn't really care if the cover to a sketchbook is ripped. Like the rest of the sketchbook is fine. And they'll have it marked down there and you can get it cheaper, and it's still fantastic paper. Hey Mark Gomes, good to see you, man. I'm doing all right. Doing all right. Everything good on your end, Mark? Haven't seen you in a little bit. Freebies and boxes of Pop Tarts. What world is this where you get free circle and shape templates in Pop Tarts? Like, I've been eating Pop Tarts a while, my friend. I have never received something so useful in a box of Pop Tarts. Next, they'll be telling me it came with a free tax evaluator. I don't know. I mean, Pop Tarts. Who knew? Joe Medeiros. Thanks for keeping me coming. I was working on Marvin. but time for bed for me. Hey Joe, hey, love that sketch cover you posted, man. That was a great use of the Mars Attack sketch cover, I gotta say. Um, Doing good. Saw Steve a while back. You're not 55. That's true. Douglas says, I think he's right with the Pop Tarts thing. I kind of remember that. Been by the office about a month or so ago. Yeah, that was. I think I saw you then. It's been a little bit though. I hope you had a good holiday, man. Hopefully, I'll see you around. Since known you since back in the old South Coast days. South Coast Toy and Comic Show. Useful things in Pop Tarts. My God. Knowing this now, I feel like Pop Tarts are letting me down. Right? I will click on that when I get off of here to check out the Pop Tarts useful stuff in Pop Tarts things. This is blowing my mind, Brian. I do not remember this at all. If they were doing it at all when I was consuming Pop Tarts beginning in probably the early to mid 90s. And one of the things that I'm, keenly aware of with my style of artwork is that it is not realism. It just isn't. And it's going for believability. And because it's not going for pure realism, I can use the language of comics. Timothy Marks. Oh, thanks very much for hanging out. Yeah, welcome aboard. I can use the language of comics, which is coming up with ways to visually create breaks in texture. Like this I'm using to differentiate the ground terrain, and it's really, there's not much to it. It's just a few dashes. But you can tell that this texture is different than this texture. And visually, when someone looks at it, they're not going to think that it's the same thing. And we'll add a couple of the rocks here and there so that you know the rocks are basically made of the same stuff beneath it. If I were to color this, because his boots are red, I would probably make the rocks in the ground like a green. And then like the circles, I would give kind of like a bubblegum color to or something. Good info, and you explained all your details. I try to, talk my way through, what we do here. Let me get my fill brush. It's over here. One sec. I call this my fill brush just because it's a slightly older brush pen, because the tips do wear out. But it's just a worn out tip, and this is the same ink that I use over the rest of the piece. And I'm not having to, as long as the thing is full, it's actually low right now, so I'm going to have to go get the ink, but I can just use it to fill in all the dark. Hey, Geeks and Drinks. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, shoot me a DM or whatever, and we'll talk. We'll talk about a story. Let me see here. Michael has another comment. I've started to use the Strathmore 200 sequential series for making some practice comic art. I like the blue line already on it, but the problem is the labeling of the lines. For example, there's not labeling for bleed. Sometimes they call it something else. Yeah, I mean, I've just learned the dimensions myself, and I just take the 5 minutes it takes to rule it out, before I get going. Like that's part of what I it's part of the process now of what I do. So, and also the other beautiful thing of it is these days because it's all done digitally, I can just kind of eyeball it, and then after I scan it in, I have a template in Photoshop that I can make those edits with. Um, I used to be so precious about like, oh, it's everything has to be, a certain way on the originals. And, I've definitely relaxed on that stuff a lot. And hell, I mean, I've gotten to where I'll use just whatever gets the mark down. I'm not worried about like there was a point in time where I was like, oh man, I got to worry about what these pages will look like. No one's going to care what my pages look like 30 years from now. I really don't think so. If the yellow, if the zipatone falls off or whatever, like as long as it gets the book done that I'm working on and people can read it and enjoy it. I try to use stuff like this is, India ink, it's pigment, it's not, this is not going to fade, but like I don't know. I used to just be obsessed with that stuff, and it would just be another obstacle that would help me prevent myself from finishing a drawing. It's like, oh, I messed up. And this is just me. I'm not projecting at all. I'm sharing my uh, neurosis as an artist. Um, it would just be another thing that I would obsess over that was utterly meaningless to me getting my job done. Um, because I have absolutely found that like the bleed lines on the old Blue Line Pro boards are not always accurate. So when you scan them in, you got to edit them anyway. What does it have? Brian says, "Do you letter your comics as you draw them, as in draw the speech bubbles, or do you letter them after working as them?" When I'm hand lettering, I pencil the page and then I letter the page. So the lettering is done before I ink it. That's how I tend to. That's generally how I work with hand lettering. Now with stuff that's digitally lettered, which like as we all know, NEC has specifically asked for whatever reason. Um, I will then use. I will finish my drawing and just add it on after the fact. What is my says? I would get stressed on things I realize I should not working on it. For example, say I draw Colossus on a panel, and then I have to draw Colossus on another. I was obsessed with how the horizontal lines on his body would have to match up with the prior page. So, yeah, exactly. Like, you do have to be with characters. Um, we can't have them change clothes between panels usually, unless it's part of the story or whatever. There is time between panels, but um, there were just things that I used to obsess over that I had to streamline it. Otherwise, I was just never going to get the work done. And there are definitely some days where I will put up an obstacle in front of me because I'm nervous about finishing a piece, or I don't think I have the answer, or like I haven't found an answer that I like yet for the problems in front of me on a piece. I will make it harder on myself sometimes. And I've gotten better at that because like I that was especially true like when I talked earlier about when I didn't enjoy the process as much. And that's something I haven't done, in a little while, but and I get exactly what you're saying, Michael, about the just obsessing over the little details. Um, that's actually a funny one if you just want to talk specifically about like the horizontal lines on him. If you even look at like his creator, like an issue that Dave Cockrum did, they changed constantly, like from panel to panel. Even like I think the only ones that maintain any semblance of similarities is the number on his fingers. And I think that's just because they were designed around the structure of the hand. This bottle's almost empty, which is good. That means I've been cranking out the work. But after this, I will probably have a drink of a beer or a glass of tea, and I will then get to bed early because I got a flights tomorrow, and I have to finish packing in the morning before I get some other work done. But I'm having a lot of fun on this, and you guys have been great tonight. It's been really nice talking process. I'm glad some new folks have chimed in and shared some of their artistic process. I find it exciting. I really do. I find that people find different answers or different ways of solving problems that I wouldn't think of. They don't have to be, seasoned veterans. I've looked at an artist who's done 10 pages in their life and said, wow, they came up with a really clever way to show that texture or a really interesting way to move the camera or something. It happens all the time. Making you nervous. I'm just chunking it down, and I've also like gotten to where if I need to go in with a little white, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. And if I miss it, I miss it. It's probably a little too much black ink on this one. I probably should have done some sort of texture or whatever, but this is a piece for fun, and it's I will take time to draw Peter again down the line, and hopefully I will draw him even, in some way better or more interesting. It's funny, Douglas, and I don't know if you have the same thing. I have shaky hands, and I actually have to move fairly quickly in order to maintain a swift line or a smooth line. I can't go in all willy nilly and just throw down a slow line and expect it to be straight. My hands just shake like a leaf. Here, let me steady it. Hold on. Deep breath. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I just don't. I've never had steady hands. Will I color it in later? Maybe. Maybe. Oh, Desiree, you posted one thing that I meant to comment on. We were also enjoying the Twilight Zone marathon on our end of the universe here. I actually hadn't seen any of the Jordan Peele episodes prior to that. One episode was really good. One I didn't care for. Hold on, Mike. Let me get to your comment there. I have to find a template online for 11 by 17 paper to put into Photoshop and print my paper. Do you know any sites that would such film? Yes. I mean, you could do one of two things. You can either scan in a piece you got, or I believe on it's either Indie Planet or one of the what's the other? Kablam. I believe it's them. they have templates for their printing, and you can just open them up in your window, your main window there, and just scale them up to 11 by 17. And that way, even if it prints, in some way a little off, it'll still scale to the printer's template. I have one left that I recorded on DVR. I watched only one of the peels so far, one with the Jimmy Simpson being telepathic. I didn't care for that one. Leather Jacks asks, "Is this character Colossus?" Yes, this is Colossus from the X-Men. He's a Marvel character that I think he showed up in one of the movies, I'm pretty sure. Maybe two. I think he was in the second X-Men movie when Stryker is going to the mansion. I think he showed up at that point. All right, well, let's do a little lettering. Oh, that's right. Yes, he is in Deadpool. Yes, you are correct. I forgot about that. I forget about that movie. I do. And I was entertained by that movie. I did not expect to be, but I was entertained by that film. And I did eventually see the second one, and it was just, it was more of the same. So if you liked or disliked the first one, I imagine your opinion of the second one will be exactly the same. What movie did I see recently? I saw I saw Black Adam. I saw that movie. I didn't care for it so much. I saw it because I wanted to see. I liked the first Shazam movie. I thought that was actually a cute movie, like just a fun popcorn flick. But I did not enjoy the Black Adam film. Took a couple of sittings to get through it, but that's true for a lot of movies with me. As I've admitted in the past, with movies I'm not like super enthused about, I'll watch a chunk of it and then, while I'm eating breakfast, and then I'll come back to it the next morning when I eat the next breakfast. Yeah, that's what I felt. It was just, and the only things that like I thought were cool were like referencing things that are cool, but weren't even really that cool in the movie. Like I love the DeMatteis, Sean McManus, Dr. Fate comics, and like that he's a cool character. And I like Pierce Brosnan as an actor. I just didn't think that the movie was all that Dr. Fatey, even though people were very excited about it. I think they were more excited about that it was just Dr. Fate, but I don't know. I love the character. I love the comics. I do. But I thought the Shazam movie was fun, and I will still likely check out the second Shazam movie whenever they decide to stop recutting it and changing things or whatever that people are alleging is going on. I tend to stay out of the movie drama because I find most, I get criticism for this, but I tend to find that most of them are just kind of bland, but fun. Like I don't know. I just don't have the expectations I guess other people do because I grew up in an era with, J.D. Salinger's kid playing Captain America and, the Dolph Lundgren Punisher movie and David Hasselhoff as Nick Fury. Like I lived in the era of no superhero content, so my bar is very, very low. I have not yet seen it. It is on my list to see, Douglas. It is definitely a movie I want to see. I've wanted to sit down and watch it and like popcorn it up. Since I can't do reverse lettering on here, I'm just gonna See if we can just get a fun little name. Now, having done graphic design for as long as I have, when I'm asked about hand lettering, there are parts to letters that, serifs and things, and parts of letters that you need to learn. But one of the cheats that I like to tell people is that Captain America with rubber ears, that's the one. That is the one, sir. You have seen it. Or you have been at a comic convention where a bootleg has been playing at a booth on a continuous loop, like the Roger Corman Fantastic Four. My cheat for lettering is you have to write rules for the letters. And as long as you maintain those rules, it'll look okay. It may not be perfect, but it'll look okay. Like if you're, for example, doing, let's say, just the word cat. If you keep the height of the letters the same, the slant of the letters the same, and the proportions being this, the kerning and the letting relatively the same. You don't need to even know what those things are, and you can get them to look okay. Just like that, The Flash with a cotton costume. Yes. We're talking about my era of MCU. And until I just rewatched the two, not really watched, they were on in the background. The two Incredible Hulk movies with Thor and Daredevil. Fantastic. You definitely have to be only watching it. If you have half watch it or have in the background, you have to immerse yourself. Yes, and that's what I've heard. So it's been like I have to carve out time to experience that movie. Glass Onion is fantastic. I haven't seen. Do I need to see the first one to see that? I haven't seen the first one. The Knives Out feature. Yes, I know. I called movies features. Laugh at Grandpa calling them features. Oh, okay. So they're standalone. I wouldn't mind giving it a shot. Had to get my chair. Back was hurting. But I should see Knives Out because it's great. $9.43. I think we'll be able to finish this thing tonight and then do our raffle. Hopefully, Douglas, it does not go to a bot as you had predicted. I have no way of knowing unless it's somebody I know. I think I know most of the people that follow, or I should say, admit to following my stuff. I have had a few random people that, like I knew from different stuff, show up randomly. Different jobs, different things that I'd done over the years. They just pop in. I think one night my old boss at the Nantucket Historical Association popped on the stream. Georgina stopped in, I think. Now look, is my hand lettering trying to do the fancy digital thing? No. It's using comic book language, which is words and pictures, to convey the story and design that I want to put down. And I don't need it to be. Okay, I will not raffle without you, Douglas. Ride like the wind. Because I had to, I definitely believe that drawing cartoons in comic book language has to be words and pictures together. It really does. And I like sketches that have words on them. I like drawings that have words on them. I like pages that have the words on them because to me, that's the language of comics. It's the merging of the two things together. Let's use one of our fancy new lettering pens. We might as well, right? We just got it. Just got it in the mail. Might as well use them, right? That's the ultra fine. I sometimes forget they're close to the same color. I also have to put my name on things. Like I even write my name on the back now because I've just seen so many of my drawings listed on like art dealer's website as unknown artist. It's like, can I at least get credit for being unknown? That was a joke. And actually, with these art collector websites, if you don't know like the dealers and stuff, like all the analytics are aggregated into like one or two places on like comic art fans and stuff, and the dealers will follow like how much your work sells for from these dealer sites, and it's crazy. And of course, they're not getting any analytics from me or what you know my stuff sells for. I think I keep my prices at a point where, it's I know my market, I know my friends, and there's always the friend prices and the trades and stuff, but like, I try to be aware of the market, not be price gougy or anything. Although one thing I did have to explain at one point was that, because like different shows cost me different amounts to do, like sometimes I'll have like a full ride guest spot, and sometimes I'll have to pay for everything, flight, hotel, car, whatever. And that means sometimes even from show to show, I do have to change some pricing. And I know that that's kind of annoying, but it's really just how it goes sometimes. But pricing pretty much never changes off my website, so and the shipping's always included in the price. Uh, just flattening the black real quick. It's nice and consistent. Sometimes I want like different textures in the dark portions, but in this case I want it to be flat. And with this matte finish ink, which I love, it'll dry so that it has a nice matte finish and it won't reflect the light. So I quite like it. And I don't need to go right up to the edge when I'm just flatting the main areas. It's just so that there's nothing. I don't understand price gouging as an artist. If someone's willing to pay a higher price for your work, isn't that just as good as marketing, good reputation, or supply and demand? Probably. I know that people like, there is a correlation in a lot of people between the amount someone pays for a piece of work and how important it is or how good it is, for some people. I've been able to buy some amazing works of artwork, by some great artists over the years that I felt were like sorely undervalued just based on from a perspective of knowing the craft. Like I know the importance of like a Jack Kirby or a Ditko or whatever, but like, you can get a very solid Alex Toth page, who and for my money, is one of the best comic book artists of all time, um, for the price of like a lesser Kirby or a lesser Ditko page. I'd love to own a piece of Ditko artwork or a Kirby, but like prices have just gone so astronomical. Don't worry, Brian. I'll always take care of you, man. And look, the what was it, that Spider-Man page that sold for the Secret Wars page that sold for a couple $1 million? There are all kinds of factors in that too. You made it. It must not be very far if that's as long as it took you. We're almost done. Then we'll raffle off the Conan, and then we'll call it a night. I've got my list of followers and my random number generator ready to go. Let's take a look here. Let's get some of our little lines in there. Do Twitch followers count? For this one, it was just YouTube, Dr. Hyduke. In the future, I will do one for Twitch, or we'll do one for I'll try to do one for different platforms. As long as I'm doing multiple platforms, that makes sense, right? That's more fair. I only think I have like 20 Twitch followers, if I'm being honest. I think that's the lowest count I've got is over there. I know so little about Twitch. I am a babe in the woods there. I stream on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, and my website. And this giveaway is for the YouTube section of things. I kind of just want to keep it clean. Normally I would throw in like an X of some kind. Like I always try to put an X on an X-Men piece, but I kind of like it as it is, so I think I'm just going to leave it. And if you're going to hop onto the raffle, that's what we're doing right now, because we've reached the end of the night. We've made it to 9:57. We've finished a piece. We've talked about the creative process. And tonight, from a prior stream, we will be raffling off. Oh, thank you, Desiree. This Conan the Barbarian sketch cover, which you can see us drawing it on a prior stream. I like this one. I'm going to be sad to see it go. But it's for the people. Let's get our random number generator. Hold on. Let me see if we've gotten any other followers since we've gotten the stream going. Let me just refresh the. Okay, we actually did. We got a couple. All right, I'll refresh right now, Dr. Hayduke. So you are Hayduke. That way you are included on the raffle. Let me just refresh my creator page. All right, there it is. Okay, yep, I see you on there. Click the see all button. Then we go to lifetime, and then I'm putting them in the order of the date subscribed. Okay, random number generator, do your thing. And the number will be 13. So actually a fairly recent subscriber will be getting this. Let's see, who's number 13? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 10. 11, 12. Organized Chaos is the winner. Organized Chaos. You are the winner of the sketch cover. I will send a message to them. Congratulations, you've won the Hey, it was a recent subscriber. That's great. I was worried it would be like number 108 and it would be someone who subscribed 20 years ago and I had no idea who I was. But yeah, congrats to Organized Chaos. I will send that out. And look, if they are, it doesn't look like they're a bot. They're a page with lots of interviews and comic stuff. So, but yeah, that was great. And next time we can do one on a different platform, I guess. And thank you for hanging out with me tonight. It was great. I hope I have a safe journey down to New Orleans and we get back and we can be here next Wednesday and we can do something else. We can draw something else. I can maybe work on a page or we can talk to people about joining me on the stream next week. I hope everyone has a lovely evening. Thank you very much. And I will see you on the flip side. Good night, everybody.